Mr. President, you have on many occasions, both inside and outside this House, made a variety of commitments to deal decisively with gender-based violence. Yet ANC actions and on-the-ground results show that gender-based violence is clearly not a priority of this government. The crime statistics released last week show very clearly that under your first term as president, the number of offences, of sexual offences and rape have increased. You've spoken about kits, but there is a catastrophic backlog in the processing of DNA tests, amounting to almost 100,000 cases, denying thousands of victims of gender-based violence recourse to justice. On the matter of gender-based violence, as with all matters of accountability with your government, you go from Mr. Talk-a-lot to Dr. Doolittle. You've made endless commitments to ending this. You've again spoken today about talk shops and funds, but these are never followed up by action. What concrete action, Mr. President, are you going to take to reduce the backlog in the DNA testing that is keeping perpetrators of gender-based violence out of jail and allowing them to continue to prey on women, children, and vulnerable people in South Africa? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Steenhuisen. The Honourable the President.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I did say that we'd show, after a huge backlog of not having the test kits in our police stations, we've made sure that our police stations have the test kits so that they are able, after incidents of abuse against women and young girls, that they are able to conduct those tests instantaneously. And in a number of areas in our country, those tests are immediately sent to laboratories. There has indeed been shortage of the availability of capability to test in certain provinces. The Eastern Cape is a case in point, and we are attending to that, so that the backlog that you speak about, and it does not run into hundreds of thousands, it's reduced quite substantially. We're making progress. We started off a low base, but we are making progress, and we are doing quite a lot. Now, Honourable Steenhuisen, we are being strengthened here in this effort by the partners that we are working with. The National Council is going to be an effective council that is going to ensure that all the matters that you talk about are attended. And that council is not going to be a talk shop. It's going to be a council that will have a majority membership of civil society entities across the country, and they are going to be having hawk's eyes on every effort that government needs to implement. As we speak now, a lot of progress is being made. More than 200 social workers have now been hired permanently to also attend to another critical issue, which is the psychosocial support services that are needed to be given to survivors of gender-based violence and femicide. Also now established what we call the Cold Case Task Team, which has already started analyzing up to 785,000 dockets relating to sexual offenses. Now, this is progress. We are focusing, it's almost like a laser beam type of focus on gender-based violence, and we are making sure that we make resources available. COCTA has enrolled over 200,000 women in the Community Works Program, representing 79% of the recruits to do work on gender-based violence. We are spreading the message. We are ensuring that we can also work on preventative measures that need to be taken. Yes, it might look like it is slow, but we are implementing the strategic plan that was drafted by the women of our country and set out in the declaration of the summit that was held in 2018. We are making steps and we are moving forward. We are not doing little, we are doing much more, and the structures that we are putting in place, especially the National Council that we've put in place, Honorable Steenhuisen, should never be seen as a talk shop. It will be a sign of disrespect to those women who are going to work in that council to be told that they are just a talk shop. They are not a talk shop, they are activists. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next supplementary goes to the Honorable Mente. Mente, you have the floor.
Okay. Thank you, Speaker. President, you mentioning the National Strategic Plan and the Council. In the same vein, you mentioned that their success so far is about 1.5 dockets that they have analyzed. Let me remind you, yesterday or a day before yesterday, the statistics in terms of gender-based violence were standing at 28,465. And therefore, in order for all these strategies and plans not to be called a talk shop, we ought to have a structured accountability mechanism through Parliament. The Minister of Women this morning agreed that we need that structure in terms of accountability. Therefore, do you agree with the proposal that there should be a committee in Parliament that is precisely looking into the implementation of the strategic plan, the work of the council, and ensuring that all the cases that have been reported, in particular GBV, are dealt with until their finalization? Secondly, do you agree that sterilization, which was forced and coerced?
Mente? Mente is frozen.
Okay.
You were frozen.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Do
you will start where you said secondly.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Secondly, do you agree that forced sterilization and coerced sterilization on women who are HIV positive by the state is also a gender-based violence on those women? And if so, why have you not acted against the institutions that have done such atrocities? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, you are reminded that you are putting a supplementary question. The Honorable, the President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. With regard to the first question, in terms of enhancing accountability, I would be in agreement that on a matter like gender-based violence, we need to ensure that there is transparency, there is effectiveness, efficiency, as well as accountability. And if to enhance accountability, members of this House believe that they should set up their own structure, I won't go as far as saying it will be a talk shop, because I think it is disrespectful to dismiss structures that are meant to deal with serious matters as talk shops. If the House itself believes that this would be the best way to go, so be it. I just want to see that the work gets done, and I'm sure that the National Council that is in the process of being set up will also be welcoming to ensure that their own work is properly looked into and that they become accountable. Coerced and forced sterilization is a violation of the basic human rights as set out in our Constitution. And anyone who participates in that has to be accountable, and so that process is truly open to anyone to take up the matter. And I actually find it quite offensive that people could be coerced and forced to sterilize, because that's a violation of a human right that is enshrined in our Constitution. Thank you, Madam Speaker.